Sheep, sheep, sheep! Hi guys, hi Bubbles, hi Walter, hi Dolly, hi Mama, hi baby, hi Albie.
1, 2, 3.
Janie's farm didn't start out with animals that were missing limbs. They just happened to come to her farm and she felt, well, prosthetic technologies helped me, it could certainly help them.
I can't imagine not having an artificial leg because I lost my leg at 10 and I'm quite used to it. It's thanks to medical science that I'm able to live this normal life. And for these animals, I want no different for them.
Hi, Felix.
What goes on at Woodstock Farm Sanctuary on a daily basis, we're home to right now around 300 rescued farm animals. They've all come from bad places and they get the veterinary care, the health care that they need on a daily basis.
Hi Bess, just... She's feisty.
Can you come help me with Felix? They're all actually in the front pasture. Little Felix came to us as a baby lamb, and he had come from a big sheep farm, and overnight some sort of predator had gotten in, and they found little Felix with his leg chewed off. And so I spoke to my prosthetist, the gentleman who makes my legs, Eric.
I don't know if many clinicians would have went out to the farm. I don't have any experience with fitting prosthetics on animals. Very few people in the country do. So I figured if I could take what knowledge that I do have and apply it to the animal, I could probably get them to utilize a prosthesis.
And it wasn't until we got hooked up with SUNY New Paltz and their 3D printing lab that we were able to make something pretty cool and cutting edge for him.
Seeing him walk on the leg was absolutely amazing. From my limited interactions with him, he isn't necessarily the most outgoing sheep in the world. He's actually very sheepish, but what he ended up doing was he started running away from us, which was amazing.
We were just jumping for joy that he could actually get up and run, keep up with his flock. He looked like he was a very happy sheep. If we could do this more on other animals, we wouldn't have to, put them down.
Most of the world doesn't fully understand it. They think of them as just farmed animals, but we hope that that changes. And that's part of the magic of what we do here. They get pastures to roam in, access to the sun and to the grass. They live life the way they were intended to live. There's no greater joy.
Good day. We can grow giant marrows 4 foot in a month, 45 inches. These marrows would taste exactly the same as a normal marrow. Nice and tender and lush. Some of them look a bit tough, but once you cut into them, they cut like butter. My name is Philip Fowles. I live in Llanari, Wales, and I grow giant vegetables. I've been growing giant vegetables now for the last 30 years. I come from a very large family. My mother had 17 children, 13 of us survived. And I think, that was something, big vegetables feed big families. I'm up here every morning, every night, every single day of the week. There's a lot of love and care goes into it. Sometimes I do a bit of talking to them as well, to encourage them to grow, which is a bit of fun. I think he's just about finished growing there now. I got to be very careful. The wife is not about when I start talking to my vegetables, but it's all good fun. I broke the world record for the heaviest cucumber, 25 years ago. It weighed 18.5 pounds, and it was just incredible the way it grew. When I started, if we had a marrow, 20, 30 pound in weight, you had a big marrow. Now we're up over 100 pound in weight. A normal cabbage would be 2 pound in weight, while we are growing them 120 pound. You can feed 120, 130, 140 people off one cabbage. This is why I supply the local pub, and they use them up for Sunday lunch. I've developed my own strain, more or less, now. I select my own seed every year, the biggest and the best seed, and it just seems to be improving. which is incredible. I grow organically. I had to think if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's a big thrill every day. The wife say, what am I doing up the allotment every day? And when she comes up, she realizes.
Water is just such an amazing medium. You can just see the crystals and how they form in so many different ways, and then take that and extrapolate it to these huge cliffs. What we do here is create spray ice and probably make over 300 different climbs. My name is Alexander Bianchi, and I'm an ice farmer. We're down here in the Uncompahgre Gorge. We have a water system at the top of the gorge, these galvanized steel shower heads. And it basically just sprays water out over the cliffs, and overnight when it's cold, it forms ice along the cliffs. What we really want is a nice clean surface for the new water to come down and just keep building off of that. So a lot of what we do here actually is rappel down a lot of these faces and just try to clear that snow off, ready for the next layer. There's about 2 miles of ice if you walk the bottom of the canyon. And yeah, we farm ice all along the top of it. Being an ice farmer is kind of hard work. We're gonna open up the south valve. Sometimes I think we're no more than like glorified plumbers. Ice farming is art and engineering. I mean, the two I think are always really inseparable. You know, the engineering is the logistics. How do we get water from point A to point B? Sometimes if the valves aren't cracked quite enough, you get a little bit of a freeze up. The water just doesn't get through the valve. The remedy is a blowtorch. On the artistic side is once we have this water where we need it, how can we do something different? How can we make something interesting that we've never climbed before? It's definitely an artistic process for some of us. I grew up rock climbing, fair weather climber. First time I came out here was just kind of blown away. It's so different than rock climbing. You're climbing a transient medium. The rock is always going to be there. This ice is not always there. So it creates this diversity and this intense experience that I really don't find in other facets of climbing. And that's why I'm proud to do what I'm doing.
Alors on nous appelle les jardiniers de la nuit parce qu'on travaille sous terre, c'est l'obscurité, il fait nuit, il fait noir. Alors travailler sous terre, c'est la meilleure façon de faire pousser le champignon. Odeur de pierre de taille, d'humidité, de fumier. Et le champignon va prendre ce goût-là. Le champignon, c'est un fil, je disais tout à l'heure, c'est un goût. Je m'appelle Angèle Moyolei, je suis championiste. On laisse le temps, on laisse la nature se faire. Et après, on va récolter pendant 4 semaines, 4 bonnes semaines. On n'est pas à la course au kilotage, au rendement. Voilà. C'est surtout le goût qui va primer. Il faut le laisser prendre ce goût-là et ce temps. Maintenant, les techniques industrielles, méthodes hollandaises, sont à l'extérieur. C'est-à-dire c'est un hangar ou une grande serre isolée, gérée par informatique avec une clim. Ce ne sera plus les mêmes méthodes artisanales comme moi j'ai appris et que je fais, quoi. Je continue à défendre mon métier sous terre, on va dire, dans la méthode traditionnelle. Bon, j'ai toujours connu cette activité-là. Ce métier-là, ça m'a toujours passionné de petit. Je suis né dans une famille de championnistes. Mon grand-père était championiste, mes parents, mes oncles, toute la famille. Je suis dans les derniers, c'est vrai. Parce qu'il y a eu, il y a quelques années, quand on est arrivé à la concurrence des champignons industriels qui venaient à bas prix, donc beaucoup de championnières en France ont fermé. C'est là le dommage, parce qu'il y a tout un savoir qui va se perdre. Que là vous êtes heureux, c'est quand vous voyez évoluer ce champion, qui sort de la terre tout petit, vous le voyez tous les jours grossir, 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 et arriver à maturité. C'est là où vous êtes content, vous voyez que vous avez travaillé, que votre travail a été bien fait.
There's 3 things that are most important to chefs. First is flavor, second is flavor, and third is flavor. Flavor rules.
Built on the fertile former lake bottom soil of northern Ohio, the Chef's Garden is a 300-acre family farm that grows specialty produce for some of the world's best restaurants.
The Chef's Garden is a small family farm that has the good fortune of working directly with some of the greatest chefs in the world. In many cases, we're working with plant growers that are breeding to be able to create new plants. Not genetic modification, but genetic selection.
The farm grows produce of all shapes and sizes, like miniature carrots, these white strawberries, and almost 100 varieties of microgreens. But the Jones family wasn't always the chef's garden.
My parents had had some very successful years. In 1983, they had a very devastating hailstorm, and ultimately the farm collapsed. We were dealt a new deck of cards and found opportunity within a disaster. We met a European-influenced chef, Iris Balin, said, grow me varieties for flavor. Grow me varieties without chemical. I want a zucchini bloom. Thought this lady was absolutely crazy. Little did we know, she knew a heck of a lot more about it than we did. And that really opened our eyes to another whole world out there. We hooked up with some really great chefs early on. Folks like Daniel Boulou and Jean-Georges von Richten and Alain Ducasse and Michel Richard, and then Thomas Keller and Charlie Trotter and Ritz-Carlton chefs and Four Seasons chefs, and they've allowed us an existence in agriculture. We're indebted to those chefs that have given us the privilege and the path to be able to follow our dream of farming. So it's that symbiotic relationship of chef and farmer working together for the greater good. And here we are 35 years later, still working to get better.
To the best of our ability, right now, in this place, I think we're doing the right thing. And I think that trumps every other reason for whatever you do in this life.